She said, "If you truly loved me, you'd understand why my ex should be at our wedding." So I invited his wife as my guest, and the rehearsal dinner exploded. My name is Marcus, I'm 29, and just 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to marry the woman I thought was the love of my life. Notice how I said supposed to, because what was meant to be the happiest day of my life turned into a revelation so brutal. It changed everything I believed about love, loyalty, and trust. Her name was Emma. We had been together for 4 years. We met at a friend's birthday party, and from the very first conversation, it felt effortless, like we had known each other in another life. She was smart, charming, and had that kind of laugh that made everyone turn their heads. Within 6 months of meeting, we were already living together. She worked as a marketing director at a fast-growing tech startup, and everyone around us referred to us as the perfect couple. And honestly, I believed them. I thought our love was unshakable. But 2 months before the wedding, something shifted. We were sitting in her apartment, addressing wedding invitations, when she casually said, "Oh, I want to add someone to the guest list." I didn't think much of it until she said the name Derek. My hands froze mid-movement, the pen hanging uselessly in my fingers. "Derek? Your ex-boyfriend, Derek?" I asked slowly, trying to make sure I heard right. She didn't even look up. "Yeah. Is that a problem?" I put the pen down. "Emma, we haven't talked about this. Why would you want your ex at our wedding?" That's when she looked up at me with that expression I'll never forget. Like I was the one being unreasonable. "Because he's still a friend. We ended things maturely. He's married now, Marcus. It's not weird." "It feels weird to me," I said carefully. And then came the line that started the dominoes falling. The sentence that would echo in my head for weeks. "If you truly loved me, you'd get it. You'd understand that my past relationships shaped who I am." Derek was a huge part of my life for 3 years. Excluding him feels petty. I sat there in silence, processing her words. Part of me wanted to argue, but another part wondered if maybe I was being insecure. So finally I said, "Okay, if it's that important to you." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Thank you, baby. This means a lot." But that conversation stayed with me like a splinter under the skin. Something about it just didn't sit right. Over the following days, I noticed her habits begin to shift. She started taking her phone into other rooms to answer texts. Sometimes she'd be smiling down at the screen, then quickly lock it when I walked in. One night, around 2 in the morning, I woke up to an empty bed. I found her in the living room, sitting on the couch, typing away on her phone. When she noticed me, she practically threw the phone onto the cushion beside her. "Just work stuff," she said quickly. "Go back to bed." But I'd already seen the name flash across the screen, Derek. The next morning, I made a decision. I needed to know the truth. While Emma was in the shower, I opened her laptop. She'd left her email logged in. I know it was an invasion of privacy, but my gut was screaming that something was terribly wrong. And I found it. Dozens of emails between her and Derek, stretching back months. They weren't just friendly conversations. They were intimate, filled with inside jokes, late-night confessions, and sentences that made my stomach twist. One from 2 weeks ago stood out. "I miss you. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we tried harder. I think about that weekend in Portland all the time. Can't wait to see you at the wedding. Maybe we can steal a moment alone." And her reply, "I think about Portland too. We'll figure something out. Mark doesn't suspect anything. Mark. My name isn't Mark. It's Marcus." That's when it hit me. She couldn't even keep my name straight when talking to him. I took photos of every email, every word, every thread of betrayal. Then I started looking into Derek. His social media was easy to find. He'd married a woman named Claire 8 months ago. A nurse, blonde, bright smile, seemed genuinely sweet. And that's when an idea started to form in my mind. That afternoon, I researched everything I could about Claire, found her Facebook, Instagram, and even her work email from the hospital directory. That evening, I told Emma I had errands to run. Instead, I went to a coffee shop, made a burner email, and typed out a message. Hi Claire, you don't know me, but I think we should talk about our significant others. I have information you deserve to see. Can we meet? She replied within an hour. Who is this? What information? The next day, we met at a Starbucks near her hospital. She was nervous, her hands trembling around her coffee cup. I sat down across from her, pulled out my phone, and showed her everything. The emails, the screenshots, the messages about Portland. She went pale. They went to Portland last November, she whispered. He told me it was a work conference. Emma told me she was visiting her sister that weekend, I replied. Claire started crying right there in the middle of Starbucks. I felt horrible for her, but also a strange, cold relief. I wasn't crazy after all. We talked for 2 hours, piecing together the timeline. It turned out they had been having an affair for at least 7 months, maybe longer. Finally, Claire looked at me, wiping her tears. What do you want to do? I want to expose them, I said quietly. But I'll need your help. That's how the plan was born. I went home that night, kissed Emma goodnight, told her I loved her, while Claire was doing the same to Derek. Neither of them knew what was coming. The rehearsal dinner was 2 days before the wedding. A fancy restaurant, private room, about 40 guests. Emma had personally invited Derek and Claire, saying it would be nice for everyone to meet before the big day. She had no idea what I'd arranged. When the night arrived, the room was filled with laughter, champagne, and toasts. Emma was radiant in her white dress, Derek sitting smugly with his arm around Claire. I saw the glances between them, small, hidden, but so obvious once you knew the truth. Then it was my turn to speak. I raised my champagne glass and smiled at everyone. Thank you all for being here. Emma and I are so grateful. I want to take a moment to talk about love, real love. The kind built on trust and honesty. Emma beamed at me, clueless. And I also want to talk about betrayal, I continued calmly. The room fell silent. Because I recently learned something interesting, that the woman I was about to marry has been having an affair with her ex-boyfriend for 7 months. Emma's face turned ghostly white. Derek started to stand, but I said coldly, "Sit down, Derek." Then I turned to Claire. "Would you like to add anything?" Claire stood up, her voice shaking but strong. "I have texts between my husband and Emma discussing hotels, talking about sneaking away during this wedding, and how they'd have to be careful because we'd both be here." The room erupted. Gasps, cries, shocked whispers. Emma's mother began to cry. My father looked ready to explode. Emma grabbed my arm, her voice breaking. "Marcus, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" I snapped. "Explain Portland? Explain the emails? Explain why you gaslit me into thinking I was insecure for not wanting your affair partner at our wedding." Claire turned to Derek, holding up her phone. "I have the hotel receipts, Derek. November 15th through 17th. Room reserved under your name. 2 dinners, 2 breakfasts. Funny, you said you were at a conference." Emma started sobbing. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. I do love you, Marcus. I still had feelings for him." "You thought you could have both," I said quietly. "Yeah, I get it now." And with that, I set my glass down and walked out. That night, my groomsmen took me to a bar. We drank until the world stopped spinning. My phone buzzed over and over, Emma, her parents, bridesmaids, but I didn't answer. The wedding was off. I'd already spoken to the venue earlier that week, just in case. They didn't even charge the full cancellation fee. It's been 3 weeks since that night, and the fallout was nuclear. Emma moved out the next morning. Her parents were furious, not at me, but at her. Her father told her she'd embarrassed the family and wasted everyone's money. Derek's wife, Claire, filed for divorce 4 days later. She's taking him for everything because their prenup had a clause about infidelity. Emma's been trying to reach me ever since. Calls, texts, emails, even showing up at my work. I finally sent one message. "You wanted me to understand why Derek was so important. I get it now. You can have him. Good luck." She replied with a novel-length text about how she made a mistake, how Derek manipulated her, how she realized I was the one she truly loved. I didn't read past the first line. Later, I found out from a friend that Derek told her he never planned to leave his wife. So she lost everything, for nothing. Meanwhile, my family rallied around me. My mom cooked for me every day. My sister helped me box up Emma's stuff, and my friends checked on me constantly. Claire and I stayed in touch. Not romantically, just two people healing from the same wound. Work became my escape. I threw myself into new projects, volunteered for extra shifts, and even sold the engagement ring to fund a solo trip to Japan. The trip Emma once said was too expensive for a honeymoon. Month 2 rolled around, and I finally started feeling human again. Emma stopped contacting me after my lawyer sent a cease and desist. She's apparently telling people I overreacted, saying it was just emotional cheating. Funny, considering those hotel receipts say otherwise. Claire's divorce proceeded smoothly. Derek tried to claim he deserved more since he earned more money, but her lawyer tore him apart with proof of infidelity. Justice served. One afternoon, I ran into one of Emma's bridesmaids at the grocery store. She apologized, saying she had no idea what Emma was doing. I just nodded and moved on. Not my problem anymore. I started therapy a month ago. My therapist said I'm processing everything in a healthy way. She even called the rehearsal dinner confrontation bold and cathartic. For the first time, I felt seen. For months later, I finally felt at peace. Emma moved to another city. Derek's divorce finalized. And Claire, she's doing great. She's dating a teacher now, someone kind. When we met for coffee last week, she thanked me again for telling her the truth. Japan was everything I needed. Peace, beauty, freedom. My sister and I even got matching tattoos in Osaka. Tiny mountains on our wrists, a symbol of new beginnings. Last Friday, I went on my first date since everything. It was nice, simple, calm, no pressure. For the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. My apartment feels like mine now. Fresh paint, new furniture, no ghosts left behind. People sometimes ask if I regret the public confrontation. And my honest answer is no. They planned to parade their affair at my wedding. I gave them exactly what they deserved. I didn't lose a fiancé that night. I lost an illusion. And in return, I gained my self-respect back. I didn't dodge a bullet. I dodged a whole missile. Life moves on. And so did I. If you believe karma never misses its mark, hit that like button and subscribe for more true stories of betrayal and redemption.